What's up YouTube? My name's Kenneth and today I have a solved video of the Geared Mixup, and you guys might remember this puzzle. I unboxed this a long time ago, but it wasn't mine. It was actually Oskar van Deventer's. He sent it to me to review and show you guys, and then I had to send it back. Anyway, after I sent it back, I missed it and I actually purchased it from him, and I've actually had it now for a long time, but I hadn't gotten around to actually learning how to solve it, and so I finally figured it out. And so now I'm ready to show you guys a solved video of the Geared Mixup. Now, in this solved video, it's kind of long, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the puzzle, and then I'm going to talk about a few other topics that you guys suggested on Facebook. So yeah. Anyway, the Geared Mixup is really cool. It acts like a gear cube in that when you turn the right layer 90 degrees, the center layer turns 45 degrees. It also acts like a mix-up cube, and that means that the centers and edges in the middle layers can kind of switch positions, and so that's why it's a geared mix-up. Anyway, the way I solve this puzzle is first I solve the corners first, and once the corners are solved, then I put the centers in the centers position, so I permute the centers, and then I permute the edges, put the edges where they belong, and then all that's left is the orientation of the gears. And first I turn all the gears 90 degrees that need to be turned 90 degrees so that they're flat everywhere, and then last I turn all the gears 180 degrees to solve the puzzle. So that's the method, and you can see it's telling you what part of the method I'm in. Anyway, so that's how I solved the Geared Mixup. It's a great puzzle. I really like it. It's a lot of fun to solve. The algorithms I'm using to solve it are pretty tedious algorithms, and you'll see, especially kind of the second to last algorithm I'm going to use. It's kind of funny, but you'll have to wait to see it. So I asked you guys on Facebook what I should talk about, and I got a lot of answers, but there was a couple that were kind of repeated, and so some people were asking about like the history of cubing, you know, my experience in the last 10 years, how cubing has changed, and also my experience at the World Championships in 2003 and stuff like that. So I thought I would go kind of that route, and then at the end of the video, if I run out of time, maybe I'll talk about another topic. But yeah, so most of you guys already know that I started cubing in 2001, and at the time it was a little different. You know, we didn't have YouTube. Most people either learned through using a book. Can you imagine that? A book, or maybe a website, and it would have been a pretty primitive website at that, you know, old-fashioned HTML. And that's how I learned. I learned on a pretty old website, and it's actually still up. I'll have to put a link in the description. Anyway, at the time, what people were doing to improve is they would go on the Yahoo speed cubing group that was put up by Chris Hardwick, and we would all share information about speed cubing, and we thought we had it so good because we were able to share information and we were able to help each other, and there was just so much information on cubing in this group in which we could improve drastically and quickly, and you know, we would have algorithms listed for us and stuff like that, and we kind of felt bad for the people in the 80s because they had it so much harder than we did here in the early 2000s. It's kind of funny to think about that because now I think it's so much easier now. Well, I don't know if it's still a lot of work to become a speed cuber, but the information here on YouTube and other locations, there's so much out there now that I think it's a lot easier to get a lot faster than it used to be. But anyway, back then the world record was held by Mina Tai, and he had set that in the World Championships in 1982, which was held in Budapest, Hungary. And there's some videos of him online. You can watch him setting that world record of 22.95 seconds. And the funny thing about that record was so many of us could break that record, and we were all like upset that there was no opportunity or place that we could go and like break this record. We couldn't call up the Guinness book, and they weren't returning Rubik's Cubers calls, and people wanted to break this record. And so we didn't get the chance until 2003 when we had the second ever World Championships of cubing. And I remember going to that and meeting all these people that I had only, you know, had met them online, and now I was meeting them in person. People like Ron Van Burcham, Jessica Friedrich, Dan Knights, and all these people, Chris Hardwick. And it was really cool to, you know, have all these people I'd only known online all in one spot. And it was it was pretty fun. And of course, Dan Knights won it, and we all knew that the world record of 22.95 seconds was going to break because so many people could break it. You know, not just me, I could break it once in a while. There was a lot of people there that were averaging under the world record, and so we knew it was going to break. So Dan Knights won the thing in like an average of 20 seconds or something like that, and I got 25th in the world with 25 seconds. And it's funny to think what 25 seconds is now. It's just it's not even on the charts. Another thing that's really changed and improved is the quality of speed cubes. When I started in the early 2000s, all you really had were store-bought cubes, and you'd have to go through a lot of work to lubricate them and to like loosen them up and get them just right. And sometimes you'd get an unlucky cube, and some cubes were really lousy, and no matter what you did, you couldn't turn them into a speed cube. So when you finally had a good speed cube, you had to really like keep care of it, and you'd have to get used to it, because it was really pain to get a new speed cube. And I remember my speed cube, my main cube, between 2003 and 2004, it really started getting really loose, and I was trying to like quickly come up with a new cube to like replace it, but I couldn't find one that was that I could get used to that was really good. And I remember going to the 2004 Caltech tournament, and it was the first one that they had ever had, and I met Tyson Mao there, and he at the time was he was putting on the tournament. He was a student there at Caltech at the time, and he wasn't very fast at the time, as fast as he was. Of course, now he's way faster than I am, and he was the judge, and so he was scrambling my cube, and it kept popping because it was so loose, and he kept calling it like the water cube because it turned great, but it popped so easily. You had to be really accurate with it. Of course, now there's so many options for speed cubes that it's just so much easier to find a cube, because you don't have to break one in for a long period of time. Now you can just go out and buy a really nice cube like the Zanchi, and you lubricate it, or you don't even need to very much, and it's already turning so much better than the old store-bought cubes that we had back then. So I think that's one thing that's really improved. So that's it for my talk about the history of speed cubing and what's happened really in the last 10 years of cubing. And so a couple other people asked about my my other hobby of time-lapse and how I kind of got into that, and what's going on with that. But if you don't already know, I go out every month to look for a dark sky, and I go out and I try to take pictures of the Milky Way and do time-lapse of the Milky Way, and I have to drive over 100 miles out of the city to find these locations. And anyway, it's a passion of mine now. I have so much fun. I go out with my dad, or I'll go out with my wife, and it's only one night, and or a friend or two, and we go out and we find these cool locations, and we can see the Milky Way, and it's beautiful, and I usually sleep under the stars, and it's really a fun thing. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. What's really cool is my dad and I are really kind of trying to improve my time lapses by building new technologies to help improve the time lapse, and I'm really excited about our latest one. We built this device to change the focus over the night. So you take a picture at one focus, and then it changes the focus a little more, and then changes it even more. Anyway, it's turned out great, and I'm working on that sequence right now, and I'm going to post that to my time-lapse channel. So if you haven't checked out my time-lapse YouTube channel, you should check that out. It's youtube.com/KennethBrandon, and you guys could check that out, and that'd be cool. I also started a Facebook page for my time-lapse stuff, so I'll put a link in the description for that as well. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned about a algorithm that was very tedious. I'm starting that right now, and I'll be continuing this algorithm. It's right up, but you have to repeat it 105 times. Anyway, I found the algorithm, and it's the exact algorithm I needed too, and I can't believe it did it, and it was kind of a luck of the draw thing, but it flips every edge except for one. And it was the perfect algorithm, and it's the algorithm I needed here, and I use it almost at least once every time I solve it. Sometimes I have to use it twice, and it's pretty funny. I know there's a more efficient way. I just don't know what it is, but there has to be a more efficient way than doing right up 105 times. So I'm actually counting in my head right now as I'm doing this, so that I don't have to pay that close attention to it. Anyway, it's kind of funny. I thought you'd like that. And so this whole method is not that efficient. You can see it's taking me over 9 minutes to solve this puzzle. So Well, I guess the solve's coming to an end, and I guess I'll actually close this video now. I really appreciate your guys' comments and likes, and you guys are welcome to follow me on Facebook. You're also welcome to follow my other time-lapse channel. I talked about that a little bit here, and that's something else I enjoy, and I still enjoy cubing, and I'll still be making cubing videos at least every other weekend. So be sure to be subscribed if you're not already. Thanks guys for watching, and of course, have a great day.